Hey, and welcome back to Plug and Play EV and another Bolt EV recall update. This time we're looking at the new software applied by GM to the 2019 Bolt EVs and now moving back into the 2017 and 2018s. What it means for folks waiting for their battery replacement and why we as 2020 Bolt EV owners don't plan to get that software update. We'll also look at how folks are doing in terms of finding dealers that are helpful to them and what we can expect to see as your Bolt EV rolls around for the recall and battery replacement. So let's not waste any time, let's jump into it. So last time we checked in, just over a month ago, there were batteries beginning to roll out to dealerships. The first folks were starting to get their replacements done, predominantly 2019 model owners. And we just started to see the beginning of physical progress. So it's obviously going to take a long time. We're nowhere near the end of this cycle yet. But we are starting to see some progress in terms of owners reporting battery replacements going well, fairly quick turnaround on the actual process itself. And generally, we're seeing pretty positive reports of the dealership experience and being able to get these battery replacements done in a timely manner with loaner vehicles available. And, the best they can make of a bad situation in some ways. So we'll dive into that today, as well as the software update, why we're not getting it, but why other people might want to. So obviously we're not getting concrete numbers from GM. That's not something that they've been particularly strong on communicating in general. How many people will get these pack replacements in what time frame? That's just probably too difficult to assess, to be honest. So they have got about 6 weeks under their belt now of doing these replacements, and certain forums and groups have been trying to track who's getting the replacement packs. One notable on Facebook has surveyed just over 200 owners who've had their batteries replaced, and the vast majority, I'd say, of the 200 or so owners that replied were 2019 model years. In the last few weeks, heading into December and post-Thanksgiving, we've started to see more 2017 and 2018 model owners report that they're going in for their replacements, including some at the dealership behind me here, Myrack Chevrolet in Arlington, Massachusetts. So across the board, across the country, we're seeing people getting into dealerships, getting their packs replaced in roughly 2 days. Turnaround seems to be about right. There's somewhere between 4 and 5 hours budgeted for the process as a whole, but the dealerships in most cases are asking to keep the vehicle, do some tests, make sure there are no fault codes, and then charge the car up to full for the owner so that it's ready for them to take away. So that's all positive, and in general we're seeing people report getting loaners, or at least the offer of a loaner. A question that came up was, which dealer should I go to? How do I find a good one? Now, initially we could only really say, call your EV concierge or hopefully look at reviews locally to find Bolt EV friendly dealerships. What we've got now is kind of a groundswell of people reporting back, and some mostly positive, to be honest. But what we've done is taken the reports from across forums like the Facebook group, the Reddit users group, stuff like that, and put it into a map here. So if you look down in the description, you'll be able to find a link to that map and take a look around. Now, it doesn't cover every state. We're still adding people, and those locations on there are Chevrolet EV certified dealers from whom we've got at least one report of a positive experience replacing their Bolt EV's battery. So take a look at that. If there's one in your area, hopefully not too far away. If you're in an area where Bolt EV certified dealerships are a little bit further afield and maybe not quite so savvy in these things, at least you can maybe look at this map and find somewhere that you may want to drive to. But that's just a small resource. Hopefully that helps a few people who aren't sure which dealer to go to. We're starting to move beyond the population of 2019 model year Bolt EVs and back to 2017 and 2018 models. Now, very early reports of the 2017 battery pack replacements seem to indicate that there's a slight difference potentially on the coolant hose compared to future models, maybe even some that were built in that same 2017 model year. So one of the things that 2017 owners should ask about that hose and whether they have that part in stock when you go to arrange your battery replacement. That part number is 42557402. But that's something to bear in mind if you have a 2017. May start to shave off a little time on your appointment if they can get that sorted ahead of time. One other thing with this software coming out that we'll get an update on in a second here, it is something that limits you to 80%, and it's intended only as a partial remedy until the permanent battery replacement fix happens. But if you're an owner going in now for a full pack replacement, that software shouldn't be applied. Now it ends 883 as the recall number for that software. I'll put it up on the screen here so you have the full number. But that's not something you want applied if you're going in for a pack replacement, because it's designed as a partial temporary fix until you get the pack replacement. So it's more for the owners who haven't got a pack ready for them, including eventually here with the 2020 and 2021 model years, and the new Bolt EV and the 2022 Bolt EV refresh. Those may be at the back of the queue as far as battery replacements go, and the software is designed to kind of mitigate some of the problems that we've been having whilst they wait for the pack replacement. If you're going in with your 2017, 2018, or maybe even still a 2019, you don't need that software upgrade. It's not an upgrade that's going to help you in any way. It's going to limit you to 80%. Once you've got the full pack replacement, you should be able to go straight back to charging to 100% if you want to, all the way down to whatever low state of charge you want to go to. So make sure before you go in that they're not planning to put that software patch with the recall number ending 883 into place. Not something you want. Just have them do the pack replacement. If you have a 2017, maybe inquire about that hose coolant piece, but anything else, just hopefully go in, get your pack, be on your way, and you should return to full functionality. So the software that GM announced in November is a temporary fix or a temporary remedy, and it's really aimed at the people who need to charge inside, who are trying to park in garages that are saying bolts are a risk. And this fix is going to limit charging up to 80%, puts that top cap at the 80% level, but does mean that you can discharge below 70 miles, whatever percentage that ends up being in your daily driving. So that's a little bit of, moving the deck chairs on the Titanic in my mind, from my situation at least, because we charge outside, we park outside, there's no inside component to it. And for that reason, not really worrying about the charging, plus the fact this is a 2020 model year. There's been one incident of fire which hasn't necessarily been fully investigated, and generally we're not seeing new occurrences. We do not charge regularly beyond 90% anyway, unless we're going on a road trip. Discharging down low, well, that has been a concern. We have had to do that over Thanksgiving, but again, the guidance says wherever possible. We're leaning heavily into that. If you've watched any of Eric over at News Coulomb's videos recently, he's been taking the same trips, just needs to go down into that bottom 20-30% of the pack. It's going to happen on a road trip. It's just not feasible not to do that. Due to charger kind of limitations over on this side, when we're going into Pennsylvania, you'll see us dropping down into the 30-40 mile zones, because that's where you have to go. You don't want to charge too high up because that takes too long, and you do want to go down into that bottom half of the pack. You need as much as you can get, because then you hit the top charge levels of 50-55 kilowatts on the stop, and you get more of your charge session in that kind of lower 50% of the battery pack. So I don't want to be restricted at 80% to that top piece of the pack being locked out by software. I want to have the control. I don't have that concern of the inside parking, so I'm going to take my own kind of intuition here and stick with the charge to 90% at most. Go only under that 70 miles when we're on trips and when we really need to. Daily operation, this car will sit between 40 and 60% state of charge most of the time. I know a lot of people are going to want to get it, but for the most part, people at home, this is going to benefit, who have a garage and who just want to charge that car overnight and not really think about it anymore, and aren't so worried about that locking out the top 20%. It's going to be different strokes for different folks. If you need that indoor parking, I can see why you would go for this. Or if you need, as road trippers do, that full access to the 95% of the pack at those isolated times when you do need to go on a longer trip, then I would imagine you're not going to get the software update. If you're in a 2017 or a 2018 anyway, you're likely to get your replacement pack very soon. So the throwing in that software kind of confusion is probably not worth it. If you're in a 2020, 2021, 2022, probably more likely to depend on your situation. So it's an option, and it will be available to most Bolts by the time the new year rolls around. Decide what you need for your everyday use case, but know that, you know, for the most part, if you don't want to get it and operate within that safety range that GM recommends for the previous guidance, you're probably going to be fine. So there we go, broadly positive news. GM just plowing its way through those battery replacements in the 2019s, seemingly making progress as they start to move into more 2017s and 2018s. And hopefully you can use this service dealer map and kind of highlight the ones that are doing a really good job and making the most of the opportunity to make things right for Bolt EV owners. Software is what it is. It's you know, another step to try and make things right, albeit kind of not one that we really want to take advantage of. But, you know, you make your own choice. So thanks for watching. If you, again, keep these updates flowing, and if you have any kind of news from your pack replacement experiences with dealers who have been really good to you, negative as well, that's fine. Obviously, if there's dealers to avoid, we want to know that. But especially if we can guide people to the most reputable dealers, the ones who are doing a good job, that would be a nice addition. So stick all that down in the comments. Always appreciate the feedback and the help, and we'll see you in the next one. Thanks a lot. Happy holidays. See you soon.